We begin with the book of Tobit. It is one of 7 of what we call the deuterocanonical books. There are 7 books in, dare I say, the Catholic Bible that aren't in the Protestant Bible. Okay, and the reason behind all that, there's a long story which I won't get into. But the belief, and I noticed it say the word belief, was that these 7 books were never written in Hebrew, just in Greek. And so there's even some Jewish canons that don't accept them as well. But the early Christians did. Okay, the book of Sirach was another one of those books that weren't accepted. And again, I say belief because with the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, they found a lot of Hebrew counterparts of these books. Okay, so there's a whole story behind that. But anyways, the setting of Tobit, which is very much like the story of Job. I'm not sure if the book of Tobit is a biographical account or if it's a more of an account of type of like a storytelling that teaches a very important spiritual, moral, theological lesson. Either way, it's very much like the book of Job in the sense that you have a guy here who's suffering. Okay, and so the setting of Tobit is the Assyrian exile, okay, which is around after 722 BC. And so Tobit finds himself in the city of Nineveh. He's been exiled from the northern kingdom of Israel, exiled into Nineveh, which would be around modern-day Iraq. One of Tobit's things that he does, again, a guy just like Job was regarded as a very righteous man, okay? And one of the tasks that he would do is that he would bury the dead. And this is very important because it really relates well to our first reading. Tobit would bury the dead. The custom of the Assyrian practice when one dies is to actually let the body out so that the birds can then feed on the body. Okay, kind of a graphic detail here. But Tobit, again, according to the law of Moses, would reverently bury the dead. And so that takes us to our first reading here when we're in chapter 2, as Tobit gives an account of what happened to him. He's out one night, and the birds, very much like what they like to do with our windshields, okay, they do it to his eyes, okay. Now, going back to his task of burying the dead. When he would bury the dead, what would he be doing? He would be what? Depriving the birds of their food, okay. And so, again, one of the reasons why the Assyrians did that was like it was like their way of feeding the gods. They had some gods that pertained to birds. Okay, so when Tobit was burying the dead, he was following the Lord our God and denouncing those bird gods of the Assyrians. And so really what's happening here is the author's kind of telling us that the gods of the Assyrians are punishing Tobit for his righteous deeds. And Tobit is struck blind because of it. Now, with suffering, and we see this in Job as well, and we see it also in our lives. Job is suffering, and now Job, through his suffering, is blind. And he's blind to seeing reality as for what it really is. So when we get to the end of the first reading here, his wife was out doing her usual chores and getting paid for it, and she received a bonus of a goat. She brings the goat back, and Tobit now accuses her, doesn't really accuse her of stealing, but saying that the goat is stolen property, that she took something that was stolen. You know, it was hot, okay, in the modern day terminology, you know, a hot goat, all right? And so he tells her to take it back because he doesn't want to get into any more trouble. Again, he feels like he's being punished by the gods of the Assyrians for his good deeds, and he doesn't want to cause any more trouble by now taking these stolen goods. But the problem is that in his blindness, he's not seeing the true character of his wife because of his suffering. You know, and what happens with us is, and sometimes in our sufferings, you know, we sin because of pride, but I think we also sin through the sense of suffering and not seeing things for what they really are. You know, sometimes in our sufferings, we make poor judgment. You know, sometimes people sin because because of fear and again, not seeing for reality for what it is. And I keep thinking of the example like young people in marriage and stuff like that. Like many people make poor choices. They move in before marriage. A lot of times it's due to what? It's due to fear that they don't want to lose their significant other, And so they kind of give into it and they give into pressures. And this, again, the whole idea, mentality of, I don't want to suffer, or I'm suffering now and I'm trying to alleviate it. Okay. And so we see it here in the book of Tobit, and his wife, righteous in a rightful way, calls him out on it, calls out his character. And it's so too with us as well. In our sufferings, it's important, first and foremost, that we relate our sufferings to the Lord and through his eyesight, and we gain his vision on reality, that in our sufferings we can see for reality for what it really is. May God bless you.